Center and a few of the NBA games coming up tonight. The Celtics hosting the Magic after having their last 3 games postponed. Jaylen Brown enters this game with consecutive double-doubles for the first time in his career. The Celtics are a 2.5-point favorite. At 7:30 Eastern on ESPN, the Mavs visit the Bucks in a matchup between 2 of the MVP favorites. Caesars William Hill has Luka Doncic at a 4-1 favorite to win the MVP honors this season. With Giannis right behind him, the Bucks are favored in this one by 7.5. And at 10 Eastern on ESPN, it's the third meeting between former number 1 picks LeBron James and Zion Williamson. Can't wait. The Lakers are 9.5-point favorite in that nightcap.
Big showdown. Let's bring in Dave McMenamin joining us live from Staples Center tonight here on SportsCenter. Dave, Anthony Davis called out his team's defense a week ago in a loss to the Spurs. What kind of impact did AD's message have on this team?
Kevin, it was a pivotal moment in the early going for these Lakers because since that game and that loss to the Spurs, they've gone 4-0. They're holding teams at 43% from the field overall, 31% from 3. They've limited their half-court defense, lowering that number by about 8 points per game. And Anthony's averaging 3 blocks per game in that span. So really, this is a part of the progression of the Lakers as this team, but also Anthony Davis as a leader and being a more vocal member of this team. Anytime you're on a team with LeBron James, he's going to be the guy that sucks all the air out of the room. But Anthony Davis is carving out a spot for himself to be an important voice with this team.
Okay, now let's go to the other side. Zion Williamson, he missed Wednesday's game after an inconclusive COVID-19 test. Expected to play tonight. Now, the second-year star is averaging over 17 points per game in the paint. No one has scored more there in the league. How do the Pelicans feel about his growth this season?
Kevin, I was speaking to Pelicans president David Griffin yesterday. He told me that the next step in Zion's progression has to be his playmaking ability. He averaged about 2 assists per game as a rookie. That number's down to 1.3 this year. And some of that has been trying to get accustomed to the new offensive schemes that new coach Stan Van Gundy is implementing. But the team and Stan Van Gundy is getting more and more comfortable with Zion getting the ball in his hands, putting it on the floor, becoming a playmaker. And Griff tells me that behind closed doors in practices as of late, you've seen him taking the ball, going full court, and making some spectacular dishes. So that's the type of thing we want to see from Zion as he becomes not just a scorer, not just a guy who finishes around the rim, but someone who can read the entire defense.
We did a segment from Staples Center about the Lakers and the Pelicans, and we didn't even bring up LeBron. By the way, LeBron playing the fewest minutes of his career, averaging 24 points per game, and the Lakers still boast the best record in the league. Dave, have some fun tonight, 10 p.m. right here on ESPN. It is our doubleheader, a great matchup with some stars. And there's Porzingis. Healthy? What does that now mean for Luka and the Mavericks taking on Giannis and the Bucks?
Health and safety protocols. That's for that party he attended without a mask last week. Now, according to Bobby Marks, if you put the 5 days into which games he missed for those reasons, Kyrie is going to forfeit $816,000 in salary for the 2 games he missed this week.
Them on the checks, that is.
Now, sources telling our Adrian Wojnarowski Kyrie is expected to play against the Magic tomorrow. Steve Nash was asked about that in a press conference today. He had no details on how the reintegration would go. He said, I have no update on how Kyrie would get back reintegrated into the team to play tomorrow. So we will still wait and see. Welcome to The Jump. I am Rachel Nichols alongside Coach David Fizdale, 2008 Finals MVP Paul Pierce. And guys, coming up, we got Luka versus Giannis tipping off in less than 5 hours right here on ESPN. Oh, yeah. Later in the show, we will handicap the MVP race where these two are the front runners in Vegas. Woo! First, though, we begin today's show with, of course, James Harden. Just made his first public appearance as a member of the Nets, spoke to reporters virtually in the last few minutes, addressed a lot of the lingering questions surrounding his departure from Houston and his future in Brooklyn. Take a listen.
What does it represent? What does it mean to you?
It means a lot. Just coming for 8 years in Houston, and then having a fresh start with some unbelievable talent, and obviously the coaching staff, the front office, from top to bottom. The welcome has been amazing. So it's a fresh start for me to go out there and ultimately have a chance to compete at the title.
Bruce Beck, NBC New York. Hey, James, what's your message to Nets fans on what kind of player and what kind of teammate they're getting?
An elite player, an elite teammate, elite leader, and just a guy that's willing to do whatever it takes to rack up as many wins as we can. Sacrifice.
Brian Lewis, New York Post.
Hey, James. Welcome. Following up on that, I mean, you've proven yourself to be an elite player, and KD's an elite player, Kyrie's an elite player. All you guys have had the ball in your hands and been asked to make big shots. I'm curious how the three of you make sure that you guys come together and keep the main thing, and find a way to gel for the greater good.
Chemistry, sacrifice, and like you said, we're all elite, so depending on the game, depending on, what's going on throughout the course of the game, that's going to determine who gets the ball and who makes plays. We're all unselfish. We're all willing passers. We play basketball the right way, and that's all that matters.
Otis Livingston, CBS New York.
Hey, James, welcome to Brooklyn. From your post-game comments after the Lakers lost to what your teammates were saying about you as far as being disrespectful and also you being held out of practice until a trade was made, it got pretty ugly at the end of your tenure in Houston. Is there any part of you that regrets the way that it ended?
I wasn't disrespectful to anyone. Those guys, I just got there, Houston. I've been there for a very long time. I've been through all the ups and downs, with that organization. And I wasn't disrespectful towards anyone. I just made a comment, that the team as a whole wasn't good enough to compete for a title. And, at the stage of my career, right where I am now, that's what I would love, And so I wasn't trying to be disrespectful to anybody, especially not to the organization. And like I said, I'm excited to be here in Brooklyn. And excited for a new start.
But do you regret the way it ended? Though I mean, it's a place that you loved and you had so many highlights.
Yeah, I regret because I'm not the type of guy to I don't need the attention, especially the negative energy, the negative attention. Like I've never been that guy. So there were some things I felt like out of my character, but the ultimate goal was to get somewhere, where I can compete. Here I am in Brooklyn. I have nothing but love and respect for that organization, that city, everything that they've done for me and my family. Much respect.
Hey, James. First and foremost, welcome to Brooklyn.
Thank you.
I guess you would know better than any of us in this room that, winning a championship is not easy, right? There's 30 teams, of those 30, maybe 5 or 6 have real chances to win it. You've been part of those 5 or 6 for God knows how long since you've been in Houston. You've had multiple runs deep, had it with different players from Chris Paul, Russell Westbrook, Melo, Dwight. I'm just curious as to what gives you the confidence that this time around will be different and that this group can get it done.
Obviously you got Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving on the team. And then surrounded by those guys, you have really good pieces in DeAndre, Jeff, shooters, and Joe, Landry. You just look at this entire roster and it's built for any style of basketball you want. And then the coaching staff who, knows the game of basketball at a high level. You just add that all together and it's like, that's a legit chance right there. It was a no-brainer to me.
Rachel Nichols, ESPN.
Hey, James. Obviously, so many great players go without winning a title. There's guys in the Hall of Fame without winning a title. But how about you? How do you see your career in terms of how important it is to actually win that title, to complete what you want to do in basketball?
It's not a guarantee to me coming to Brooklyn is, guaranteeing a title, Rachel. I think for me, giving myself a chance is very, very important. At younger, giving myself a chance, but wanting to get paid and wanting to take care of my family was very, very important to me. Now the stage of my career is giving myself a chance to do something that I haven't accomplished yet in this league. And that's very important to me now. And that's the situation that I'm in. And that's why I'm here in Brooklyn. I'm excited for the new opportunity. Obviously, we know it's not easy. It's not going to be easy at all. But, with the roster and this coaching staff and this organization, I think you have a legit chance.
I know you're obviously still getting acclimated to this team, but when you look at yourself and you look at the pieces, what parts of your game do you envision, staying the same for this to work, and what parts do you envision changing for this to work with this team?
Very good question. I think for me, my playmaking ability, we have two elite scorers